Okay, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at two games instead of the usual one. That's because this first game is pretty short, and then our second game is going to be a bit longer of a macro game. But since this is an Unranked to Grandmaster series, I'm going to be going over all the games that I play and show the progress of my climb as we go. This was day one of the ladder. You know, obviously this is my third or fourth game on, and this guy was pretty new. You can tell because he's going for a supply depot first, or a habitat rather. So I knew pretty much right away that I was versus someone who is newer to the game or still learning. And so I decided I'm going to be going into a mech build and just trying to close out an easy win with hedgehogs. So I'm going to be assigning 5 there to Therium. And I'm going to overcharge and build my barracks. My barracks isn't in a great spot there, actually.
Our forces are under
it's
attack.
kind of blocking the workers from running back and forth, but doesn't really matter. So on this map, the health plants are behind these little bush things. You can see it there on the top left. I'm going to go get it. And this is a 4-player map, and remember the maps are mirrored, and so it's in all 4 of those corners in the same area. So if you look on the mini map where I just got it, you can tell the spaces that it is on all of those. So there's 4 in total that you can grab. I'm going to hit his, try and hit his dog by attacking the camp. It's not totally going to work out, but I almost got him. That is something you can do if he's got a lot of units or something. Using the creep camps that are neutral to your advantage. So I actually delay my supply depot by cutting workers here. You can see I'm at 15 out of 15. That's because I stopped building workers. You can notice the count is pretty low compared to normal. And that's going to allow me to get my hedgehog out much faster than normal. If I had to spend the 100 resources additional, it would be pretty difficult for me to get out a hedgehog immediately. So I got my first one in production, and I'm going to salvage the barracks. Now that tier 2 is a bit harder to get, sometimes you don't even end up going for it until much later, and so it's fine to salvage the barracks, get that extra money now, and then replace it later. Remember, you're losing absolutely nothing by salvaging it. You get all 150, and so spending it elsewhere is not a problem. And he's just putting down his barracks now. The whole game I felt absolutely terrible. I thought about typing something to him, but I feel like that's even more insulting for some people. And so I thought I would just kind of go in and try and close out the game. Here comes my second hedgehog, and I'm just making continual production. This isn't a solid build that I'd recommend. It's not a terrible one, but for most Vanguard players you might run into some problems if they go dogs specifically. You can see there I'm looking at tier 2, and I also did kind of realize that I probably should build that back because I want tier 2 a bit earlier than I had anticipated. But rest assured, it is not a bad idea if you salvage the barracks, I swear. So here I just bust in. He's only got a lancer. Again, I'm feeling awful at this point. Just going to do some light micro, and my micro's not even great, but like I said, I'm so far ahead at this point that I've got 2 hedgehogs in his base now, a third and a fourth are on the way. I'm just going to keep my production of hedgehogs up and running, and he's going to be trying to make lancers and pull some more workers, but obviously a lancer nor workers can never catch a hedgehog. You can see it here. This is the micro. This is what it kind of looks like, by the way. You kind of move, and then you click A, and then you left click on what you want, and he's gonna tap out. GG. I feel terrible. If this is you, I'm so sorry, but I needed the points. I needed to get up somehow. Okay, and here we are. We're coming into game 2 now. This is going to be me versus Celestial, and we're on Secluded Grove. Remember, I've already showed where the healing flower is there. It's near the middle of the map on the top and bottom. And for this build, I'm going to be doing something similar to my last game 1. This was day 1 when the meta was still kind of evolving. So you're going to notice my build change as I release more videos and as I go over more games. And as people figure out the matchup better and all that sort of stuff. But for this build, I was just going to go with the same build as in Frigate, which is early hedgehogs into additional mech bays and an expansion. And I was going to try and beat them in a macro game. So you can see here I'm prepped up to go for a command center first. And first Celestial, now I would not recommend it in the current balance patch, but it's not you know, if you're lower down in the ranks, it's not a terrible call if you're looking to try and improve your macro. So there we go. I'm just going to be building that. And I'm going to be setting up my camera hotkeys because I remember I forgot to do that. Sorry if it makes you dizzy when I do that. Just have to check they're all working. And I'm going to be checking out what he's making. So the creation chamber means it's either Argent or it could be Kree if he's teching up. Usually, if they're mining Therium, like this guy is, they're going into Vectors. That's also pretty common. And he's going to use the Sovereign's Watch there, so I'm just going to back out. I'm going to go get the Healing Fruit. I'm continuing worker production at home, and when I have 150 extra, while workers are still making, always make sure the workers are a priority. You can see I was trying to get that one there. Then I'm going to be putting down my barracks, and you can see that building right there indicates that it's Kree. The Guardian Nexus and the Creation Chamber means it's Kree. So like I said, out of the Creation Chamber, his two options really are Argent or Kree, and so you're going to look to try and confirm that other building to make sure that it is in fact Kree. And if he's going for 2, that typically means he's going for more army. I didn't see him make any morph cores or anything, so I know he's trying to gear up for additional army. I would have seen if he went for an additional collection array or anything like that, but for right now he's just got the crystals, so I'm just going to be poking in and out, and I'm going to go try and get the healing flower. Behind this, I'm going to be making my mech bay to get those hedgehogs. When I started my barracks, I transferred my workers to Therium, just like I always mention. For mech, you can go 5 or 6. 5 is typically a pretty safe number, whether you're going bio or mech, and it's pretty solid. As long as you're continuing your worker production, you won't fall too far behind on your Illuminate. There we go. So I go back into Scout, and I see it's Kree. So I do confirm that is the unit he's going for, obviously. And because I know where the other healing flower is, I'm just going to try and do some damage to him. I didn't realize how strong the Kree were. I looked away for a fraction of a second, and he was dead. That was like 30 damage a hit or something. I don't know what their actual damage is. I just know they're strong. So, it caught me off guard a little bit, but I'm producing my hedgehogs now. My workers are still being made, and I'm looking to go up to tier 2 here. And that's for promote and the shield, primarily. Pretty early tier 2 overall, all things considered, 3.5 minutes, but now that it takes a minute overall, there's no big deal. I shoot the chicken there just because I kind of like shooting the little creeps around the map as I go. And I'm just going to be continuing hedgehog production here. There's not too much to talk about, really. Just making workers, adding additional hedgehogs. I'm going to be throwing down my second mech bay here. I don't exactly have a firm timing for you here. Typically, once you're getting pretty solid saturation on your second base, it's a good time to be going up into your second mech bay. I'm going to find one of his collection arrays here, so I'm going to start poking it. I do know there are Kree out on the map, and I do know Kree are fast, but I actually just saw, and I did see this with my own eyes, during the game, I mean, the camp in the bottom right was just taken, so I'm going to send my dog on the intercept path there, and sure enough, he's going to go right past them. So I'm going to know exactly where the army is and everything like that, so I'm just going to kind of poke back and forth, and I'm going to promote my guys there, up both to tier 2.
Capture point contested.
My dog is going to get some scouting in the main base, see how many creation chambers there are, and kind of poke around the solar or the collection arrays or whatever they're called. You can see it, he's just attacking there. They're not really meant to be doing anything. I'm going to intercept a counterattack with one of my hedgehogs here, and I'm going to be trying to stop it the best I can. This was very common, and you're going to see this in a lot of my upcoming videos. People just roll Krees into mineral lines, and they win. In this case, I'm able to shut him down pretty good. I got a decent split.
Insufficient
But, you know, he still did quite a bit of damage. I think I'm still ahead because of how early I expanded and all that sort of stuff, but still not ideal. I'm going to evacuate my workers there, and you can see I took quite a significant amount of damage. I got a bob on a whole position there, so the Kree are just rolling around, kind of messing around. And once all that's done, I'm going to try and return my workers, and I'm going to build a sentry post to repair. And that's just to put a bob in there so that I can repair because I'm going for mech units. Behind this, I'm going into Vulcan. If he's going Kree, I usually go Vulcan, and I usually like to go 4 or 5 Vulcans before I'm ready to move out, because one Vulcan alone cannot get enough damage to get going or to win a fight for you. But when you get that critical mass, typically you can kind of shred through them pretty quickly. So my sentry post is just going. He's going to scan and see what's up. I'm going to send my dog across the map. Remember, it's never a bad thing to remake a dog so that you get more information. See where the army is, how big it is, the production structure, stuff like that. So you're going to see I just queue him up. I'm not even totally looking. Well, now I am. I just kind of need to know what his army looks like and where his buildings are. So the Kree, they're going to intercept it, and I'm going to take a look. And now I've seen his army. I kind of expected this. He's just going mass Kree, and so I kind of know that now. I'm going to send some workers across the map and try and do a push with this Vulcan. I've got my second Vulcan on the way, and my mech bays are going to be rallying hedgehogs as we go. Remember, solar habitats, to get that 15% bonus production speed, always good on mech bays. You can see I had that hooked up there. That's definitely worth it. And down here, pretty far out of range. That might be in the vision range camp actually, but regardless, I'm pretty far back. I'm going to start my initial sentry post so that I can do a slow push into his base. And this is so I can put a bob turret or a bob in there and get the turret that repairs, similar to what I've got back at base. And here you can see he kind of walks up. I think he split his army improperly. But his army must have been out of position. I actually didn't know where it was. I was preparing for a fight, but it must have been out of position because I managed to pick off that collection array without any problems. So I'm going to cancel that sentry post because I realized the slow push isn't really happening. And he set up an ambush, which was pretty cool, all things considered, the way he did that. I'm going to drop the shield on one of my hedgehogs, try and micro back the Vulcans, but Kree are pretty strong, so I'm going to end up probably losing this fight, it looks like. And I'm just going to try and fall back to my sentry turret. My outpost is gone. I'm going to try and repair that Vulcan there as well, but that's going to go down as well. Vectors do bonus versus light. Vectors are those car-looking things, and so both hedgehogs and Vulcans kind of get destroyed by vectors as well as bobs. Pretty bad attack for me. I lost quite a bit. And even though I traded out units with him, my units were significantly more expensive. I did get the collection array, and I'm going to trade out some more units here. This was a mistake on his end. I'm going to get 2 more vectors, and I'm going to try and kind of micro around it while the repair turret heals me. And it's going to go pretty well, honestly. I'm going to pick off another vector, I believe. He's going to come back around. I think I'm going to get it. But I'm just trying to roll around and buy time. And there you go, I can see I got the other vector, and then I'm just going to try and get out, because the turret is gone.
Forces are under attack.
So, positionally, I lost quite a few workers in that push. I lost my army. I did trade out a collection array and stuff. This is kind of a bold move on my end to just try and expand, but I was floating quite a bit of resources, mainly because I'm lacking Therium right now. And I do have some Vulcans to kind of be defensive with, and that Bob repair turret. So I'm pretty confident if he rolls up to my natural, I can take a fight. And if he goes to my third, I can always just cancel it. Bit of a supply block there, don't worry about that. Nothing to see there. And as we go forward, I'm just going to be making that third base. Continuing my worker production, always building workers, remember. Try and build workers as much as you can. I'm still supply blocked, but don't worry about that. And I'm going to get in that scrapyard now that my second base is, you know, as set up as it's going to be, and I'm going into the third base. I'm pretty ready to go into full Vulcans and maybe start teching up in the near future. I'm going to send my hedgehogs out here to check if he's got a collection array out here. If they're undefended, you know, you can pick it off with the hedgehogs pretty quickly. And that's one area that Celestial is pretty weak to, is that multi-prong harassment. So I'm going to also check the middle with my dog there. I can see inside, and I see he's not actually in there. I find his army in the middle here. I'm going to try and trade out some of my hedgehogs for the vectors. And I get 1 for 1. Not a great trade, but it's kind of whatever. Continuing worker production, adding in a bit more, and I'm going to transfer some more because I'm trying to go for a lot of Vulcans now, and I'm lacking the Therium, so I'm going to transfer some more workers over there. I'm about ready to move out with my push. I'm just waiting for this last set of rallies. I'm going to be building my machine shop to go into Atlas's soon after. I'm building that supply depot there so that I can turn it into a solar habitat. And I've got a sentry post up on the third base with a repair turret so that I'm also able to play defensive in case he attacks.
Researching.
Give me them orders. Top speed.
From here, I'm going to get this research ability. People don't really get this for some reason. I think it's a really good one. It's from the scrapyard, costs 100 luminite, 100 therium, and it increases your top bar regeneration by 50%. That's more promotes, that's more shields, that's the scout dog, and that's more overcharges that you're allowed to use once you get that ability. So I think it's pretty good. So I try and get it whenever I have some resources to, and I have the scrapyard. I'm going to try and be active on the map here and get these creep camps. Only the vision camp and the luminite camp give you any resources right now. The speed camp also does, but there's no speed camp on this particular map. And after I get the vision camp, I've got vision near my base, so I'm going to be moving out. I do get intercepted. My hedgehogs get intercepted here, and I'm going to back out. But I've got 4 Vulcan, and you can see the Vulcan, once they gear up, I put my shield on one, and I'm going to promote the other one to give him more HP. They just kind of shredded the Kree. And that one up front with the shield, he probably tanked all 1,000 damage, but I kind of just, those Vulcans really destroyed him. That was an amazing trade for me. But my Vulcans are too low to continue. So I'm going to just send them home, and I'm going to continue the game. If you trade well, there's no need for you to try and end the game right away. I'm going to go here and try and snipe a crystal. It's not going to work. Those things are so fast and so tanky. And so I'm just going to be pretty happy with the trade I got. I see he's still not mining on that third base area as well, which is just good information for me to know. I know I'm ahead because I've got my third base. He's going to be trying to trade out a bit more with me. I try and grab the flower on one of the low HP ones. Doesn't work out, so I heal the other one instead. I'm going to be moving back to my base. Now I've got Atlas evac out. You can see I've got 2 Atlases and my evac. I should be starting evac speed pretty soon, I believe. Oh, there it is. I'm just lacking the therium a little bit right now. And I'm going to be expanding again because I'm kind of floating some luminite. You can see my worker production is terrible. I should have that fully saturated by now, but I don't. I'm actually going to go for the splash damage on the tanks instead. The ground splash damage instead of the evac speed first. I guess that's not a terrible call. My Vulcans kind of walked by. I must have rallied them poorly, and so they were still low HP, so I had to turn around my push for just a minute. But once they're all ready to go, I'm going to get everybody together and head out again. So I've got just a few hedgehogs to tank up front. I've got majority of my army is Vulcans to be doing the damage to Kree and Vector, because both Kree and Vector are light units, and when they are light, Vulcans do bonus damage to them. And in the back, I've got some Atlases providing some support fire. He's going to be set up here again. I kill the other chicken. Don't ask me why I do that. I just kind of like zooming around doing that. And I'm going to be pretty much on full offense because I've got quite the mech army here. And those Atlases, I'm going to be looking to try and get some harassment shots with them. I grabbed the watchtower here as well because I have map control. And he's going to be trying to take the fight. But first, I also want to just be launching some shots and getting as much zoning as I can with these Atlases. I'm going to turn some of my hedgehogs into the anti-air mode to pick off those crystals, and he's going to roll in and try and take the fight. Again, I'm just going to drop the shield, and the Vulcans are going to do a ton of damage. They do so much damage to light units, and I highly recommend, if you can get enough Vulcans. He says hedgehog too good. He's completely ignorant of what actually happened and what won the game, which was the Vulcans. The Vulcans are doing a significant amount of damage, and they're very tanky, and so that's what won me the game there. It was pretty close, really, especially when I lost most of my units. He's still not leaving for some reason. Typically, when you type GG, you're supposed to leave, but I guess he was asking for advice. He's asking what goes into Hedgehog. Again, he still doesn't really realize that it was the Vulcans that won that game for me, but I respond and give him a tip, which is accurate, which is the Vectors are the best unit against Hedgehogs because they deal damage to light. So that's going to be game, and that's going to take us up quite a bit to 493.